30 times. Ten times more. Two times more. Letting go and stop.
But the other reason is the most direct and fastest connection between the brain and body for controlling your state of mind is what's called the phrenic nerve, P-H-R-E-N-I-C. The phrenic nerve connects these neurons that I'm referring to in these two brain centers that control breathing with the diaphragm.
Huh.
A lot of people get excited about the vagus nerve, and I'm not out to punish the vagus nerve or the veganistas, but the truth is the vagus nerve is a very slow system for calming the brain and body. It's called the rest and digest pathway. People are engaging their vagus all the time when they eat a big meal. When the stomach is distended, it sends a signal to the brain that, oh, I have enough food, it's time to rest and digest. But eating, first of all, if you're only using food as a way to control your stress,
that's not a good habit.
It's not a good habit.
and you'll be depressed one
That's
day.
right. People have learned long ago, thousands of years ago, that the best way to suppress a cortisol response is with carbohydrates because it blunts cortisol. But this is why people eat carbohydrate-rich foods when they're stressed.
And when cortisol is spiked, what happens?
So every morning when you wake up, there's a cortisol spike. That's a good cortisol spike.
That's a stress spike, right? It's like a...
It's a good one. It's the one that wakes you up out of sleep, and you want that early in the day.
So you're not just like groggy all day, right?
That's right.
Like, okay,
cortisol has important positive health promoting functions. There's a signature of depression and anxiety, however, that the psychiatrists know about, which is a 9 p.m. cortisol spike. For people who are depressed, there's a second spike of cortisol late in the day. And that's problematic and is associated with a lot of mental health issues.
And cortisol is a stress hormone, is that right?
Cortisol is a stress hormone. So you have your adrenal glands, which are right above your kidneys and your lower back, and there are two parts to it. They release adrenaline, which is also called epinephrine.
Thirty times. Ten times more. Two times more. letting go, and stop.
And adrenaline is what makes you feel agitated. If you're calm, you're walking along, you look at your phone and there's a troubling text message, you immediately have focus, energy, and alertness.
Is the brain connected to those then, and it sends a signal to each other?
That's right. That's
Really?
right.
And then it
Exactly.
affects the body.
That's right.
And then
Two-way
the body
highway.
feels it.
That's right. So adrenaline is liberated into the body very fast, in less than a second, 500 milliseconds.
You see
half a
something,
second.
you're reacting to it, and
That's
it's
right.
just boom.
That's right. And it recruits a set of neurons that live right in the core of your body. They then send a signal out to your body, and all of a sudden you feel like you want to move. And
Let's go.
the stress is just, it's going to dilate your pupils, cue your alertness, and make you agitated and want to move.
The body's pretty fascinating.
It's really fascinating. And you want this because, the other night I was taking a hike. I was out here a couple days ago and taking a hike in Topanga. And I saw a shadow, I looked down, and it didn't move. It was a snake. It wasn't a rattlesnake, but
still.
all that happened in less than a second, right? And these are primitive pathways designed to get you to your alertness. My night vision is so-so, but all of a sudden I felt like I could see clearly, and that's adrenaline. Cortisol is a bit more slow acting. So when that adrenaline is up over and over and over again for days and days, cortisol starts getting liberated also from the adrenals. It comes from other places too, but mainly from the adrenals. And the cortisol system is an anti-inflammation system as well as an inflammation system. But
it's both.
It's both. But people, they give cortisone shots to football players,
right.
In the locker room for a reason. It blocks pain and all these things. So
But too much of it over an extended period of time does what?
it can cause chronic inflammation. It can cause chronic fatigue.
Thirty times. Ten times more. Two times more. Letting go and stop.
There is a debate out there. Most serious MDs don't believe in adrenal burnout. People think of adrenal burnout. There is something
Adrenal
called
fatigue or adrenal burnout.
So there is something called adrenal insufficiency syndrome, which is a real medical phenomenon where the adrenals are incapable of making these cortisol and adrenal hormones. But the truth is that you have enough adrenaline and cortisol in your body to last 2 lifetimes and 25 famines. I mean, we were built with a lot of robustness, right? This explains, the David Goggins of the world. We all do have that greater capacity that people talk about. The stress is very misunderstood because people think of stress as this ancient carryover that's very unfortunate. It kind of gets lumped with depression, like, oh, this is just a flaw in our design or something. But actually, stress is wonderful. It actually activates our immune system. So. Anytime you liberate adrenaline into your bloodstream, you also protect yourself against infection of bacteria and viruses. Because if you think about it, if we had to gather food and we didn't have it, and we had to then pack up and migrate long distances, you can't afford to get sick. And this is why people who work, and then rest, they usually get sick when they finally stop and rest.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the post-finals phenomenon in university or after the season for a game, or the caretaker's thing where you're taking care of somebody who's ill and you're just work, or taking care of young children, and then you finally stop to rest, you go on vacation and you get slammed with